Hello YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of The Golf Nerd. We golfers think way too much. We worry about the position of every joint before, during, and after we hit the ball. Well, I want to challenge you to change the way you're thinking and get more in touch with your God-given athleticism. In this video, we're going to talk about perfecting the takeaway. But first, just subscribe already so I can quit talking about it. Seriously, I'm committed to bringing you quality content that will help you enjoy the game that little bit more. So join the community. Now, let's talk about a perfect takeaway. I'm not sure how many of you have heard of Dr. Kwon, but this man is quickly becoming one of the most well-researched and well-respected minds in the study of golf biomechanics. He's influenced many other experts in the field and has been cited by Athletic Motion Golf in their understandings of what makes a great golf swing. So trust me, Dr. Kwon is super knowledgeable. He has a channel here on YouTube, and I will say that if you are an uber nerd like me, you may enjoy the hour-long videos of him teaching his students, but be forewarned, the footage is raw and it's a bit repetitive. Having said this, I'd like to share one aspect of his teaching today. The idea is to make the takeaway a much more athletic move. You may have heard the expression, what's old is new again. This is the case when we're talking about adding athleticism to the takeaway. If you ever watch old footage of some of the greats like a Sam Snead, you'll see elements of a dynamic forward press being introduced to get the whole system going. You can see it in the video. He starts with a small rotation forward to propel his takeaway going away. He certainly isn't trying to guide that club head back in that takeaway. Compare it to testing your vertical leap. Before you jump, you perform a small squat. The same is true in this active forward press. We introduce a motion in the opposite direction of where we're going. This counter motion starts the chain of events. The reason I'm emphasizing this point is because too many golfers are way too slow, deliberate, rigid, and are just thinking way too much. This should be a dynamic move, but not only because it then changes our whole approach to the swing, but also because it helps us to perfect the takeaway. So how do we perfect the takeaway? We quit trying to control it. Let's think about pure physics for a moment. If I attach something with some heft to the end of a rope, and I try to swing that out away from me in the most efficient way, I'm not going to go low and slow because that weight's going to have a mind of its own and it's going to go all over the place. However, if I whip that weight out, I know where it's going to go. It's going to be straight out at the end of that rope. This is kind of like the takeaway in a golf swing. We know that classic look of a pro when they're halfway up and the club is parallel to the ground. The absolute easiest way to get that is to actively swing the club up and let physics position it. Now we still need a good grip and arm structure, but those are different topics. So what do we need to do? Well, I referenced Dr. Kwon at the beginning because I think what he's come up with is just brilliant. I'm going to use a kettlebell for the demonstration, but you can use a dumbbell or a can of paint or whatever. You need something fairly compact that can be swung safely. So take this item in your hands with your palms facing away from you. Get into a good golf posture and use your body to drive that weight back and forth while you keep your arms fairly loose. Start slow and then get some speed into that. As you do this, concentrate on the point where the kettlebell has become weightless, especially where it becomes weightless on your lead side, and notice what you have to do to propel that like a backswing. This is the same type of force that you're going to want to include in your backswing on a normal basis. It's what Sam Snead's doing in that video where he gets that little motion forward. Once you get used to the feel with a kettlebell, put it down, pick up a mid-iron, and do the same thing. Try to replicate those same feels with a mid-iron in your hand. Really try to feel that motion going back and forth between your feet and allow your lower body and your torso to really throw that club head back and forth. By doing that, you are unlocking some natural athleticism. Way too many golfers get in these positions and they're trying to be real slow and rigid and try to get exactly into the positions that they see in the pictures. But that's not the way that the golf swing works. You got to get that club swinging on an arc, and you got to get it swinging with some momentum. That'll take care of all of the different position issues that you're trying to hit. So once you get comfortable going back and forth by shifting your weight and turning, go slow at first just to kind of get the feel of it, but really start ramping it up, get some speed. But you got to make sure that you keep your arms fairly loose. They need to feel like those ropes to some extent, and you got to take some of the tension out of your hands. Don't try to muscle the club. Just allow the club and momentum and physics to just guide that club through space. Once you get to the point where you're comfortable and you're really driving that club back and forth in space, You need to set up your smartphone and get some video of it. You're not going to believe how much better on playing the club head is when you really start ripping it back. So give this a try. Grab a kettlebell, get a little out of breath, work up a sweat. Practice getting from one side to the other and turning to try to generate some momentum. Let your arms hang like some ropes and just try to swing that kettlebell back and forth with a little momentum coming from your lower body. Then put down the weight, pick up a club, and do it with the club. You're going to be amazed just how much better and on playing your swing becomes when you quit thinking and just let physics and your natural athleticism take over. It's really going to help you. So if you like this video, please give it a like. It really tells me what kind of content that you guys are looking for in the future, and that way I can concentrate on the specific things that you want to see. Well, that's it for me, the Golf Nerd. Hit 'em long and straight, and I'll see you next time.